Okay, so what we have learned. We have learned the prop spin, or my terms, the butterfly spin. We have learned the right side flourish, the reverse right side flourish. We've learned the left side flourish and the reverse left side flourish. So we have all these components, and this gets you through your opening routine. But once you get through your opening routine, which I will break down and talk about later in a different video at a different point in time, hopefully, what do? Well, you beat time. Seems pretty straightforward, but there's a lot that goes into it. I'm gonna look at this video and I'm gonna hate how I just beat at time. Just how it goes. There's a lot of things that go into it, so I'm gonna break it down. Start off with, when you beat time? Well, anytime you're not spinning. Generally, you break it down, you go into musical phrases, you want to get X amount in before this point. We'll talk about that later. So just for beating time's sake, I'll talk about that. Unfortunately, with how I have this video set up right now, you can't see my feet. So you just have to listen to what I'm saying, but I think you guys kind of get the gist. Anyone that's been in a parade before or seen a parade. So we're gonna start off like this. So notice the baton's it's in front of me. It's not too far in front. Not really like way out here, but it's not like right here. It's just kind of there, hanging out. I've got my loose grip still. And if you notice from my last 10 seconds of terrible beating of time, it's just going up. Notice the baton doesn't wiggle very much. If you get that light grip, it should kind of just stay in spot. That's the beauty of being off balance, or it's just going to kind of stay there naturally. So it's going to sit there and just. So now every time your baton hits this position, it's your left heel striking on the ground. So every time it goes up, my left heel just hit the ground. Goes down, my right heel. Goes up, my left heel. Right heel. And you do that for X amount. So you're just kind of going through. And you guys probably notice me making a sound as I do this. I'm making a with each one. This is how I think about when I do it on the street. This is how I think about when I practice. What do you notice about those two sounds? One's debatably, it's towards the end of staccato. It hits it, goes, and it stops. The other one's a swoosh. What does a swoosh do? It doesn't really have like a definite start and end. It just goes. It's like a hill. It's like, why? You can easily tell the difference between the two sounds I'm making. So if I am doing those sounds with motion and my beating of time, you can clearly tell the difference between my beat 1 and my beat 2. The human mind is made to notice contrast. We'll go to the magic brick wall. You can clearly see, there's all these markings because it contrasts with the red brick. You can see all these nice white lines of the clay put together because it contrasts. You can clearly see this strip right here. That's just what we notice, It's different colors. You can see the contrast. It adds these different sparks. If there was just like a smattering of bricks, right here, that were one color and right there, it would look weird. But here they're all uniform. They're in a straight line. Everything is together. It makes sense in our mind. Why can't this? So you've got a firm beat 1. That's like, this is your defining beat. This is that driving force. That is that cut, 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 cut. That is that moving force. That is that downbeat of the band that keeps everyone just kind of going forward. So you want it to be nice and firm. You want, but you don't want to like grab your baton. You don't want to go just. You know, a lot of wiggle, and my nice defined point just got soft because of all of this extra motion. It's not here. It's here. It looks off. So that's about beat 1. Now beat 2, where I'm saying, we're getting a swooshing sound. So what is the easiest way to make this red look redder? By making the white look whiter, right? It's a contrast thing. It's just what it is. It's how it works. How we notice the reflection thing. This isn't a science video. I'm not getting into that. So you've got a right. So if you notice, my beat 1 now looks a lot harder because my beat 2 was soft. So I'm coming up. Sounds a little weird, looks a little weird. Try it. Find sounds that work for you. Those are the sounds I do. It's just how I think about it. You know, it stops, it goes, then it stops, goes, then it stops. It just works. So the next one we're going to talk about, what is some of the geometry we're doing here? So I'm going to do the obvious one. You notice my hand right here. I've got the pad of my index finger right here. It's just on the tip of my hip bone. And if I'm doing it right, it should create a nice level platform. Notice my fingers are all together. It just looks nice, it looks tidy, it looks disciplined. This is one thing that really sets it apart. I've gotten nailed for it in a couple of my recordings that I've done. It's not necessarily one of those things that people think about, but it's one of those things that like everyone doesn't think about. If that makes any sense. So it's like there's gonna be a lot of people out there like this. You know, it just looks a bit looser, it looks a bit sloppier. It's not wrong, you just didn't think about it. But as soon as you bring it together, it's just like, oh, you know, it looks nicer, it's a different level of understanding. So bring them all together, just think about it, practice in the mirror, see it. Okay, so you got this all nice. So now is my beat 1. Come up. Well, my favorite one out of this is if I'm doing it right, this arm and this arm should be parallel. Should be able to go like this, and they go in the exact same direction across my body. So right there, my geometry works. From here, over the ball. It lines up with my elbow, doesn't it? What is in the middle of the elbow? Perfectly frames the face. So as you do it, you're going up. You've got the fingers together, you've got your arms parallel, you've got the face perfectly framed in a perfect equilateral triangle. It's just perfect. Your baton's not wiggling, so you've got a nice defined beat 1 and a soft beat 2. Everything it's just working in your advantage. So maybe I'll just do a mock like run through the street. I'll get over there. I'll do a little spinning. I'll do a little beating of time, and I'll kind of show you guys what each of it looks like coming at a distance and as I'm moving and all that. So we'll talk about that next video. Hopefully this made sense. You got any questions, comments, email, comment, whatever you got, you know guys how to get a hold of me, you know I'll get back to you. So yeah, that's it. And yeah, just when in doubt, spin.